Okay, structure and function of GST Council. First heading, right there. Constitutional provision related to Goods and Services Tax Council. Constitutional provisions related to Goods and Services Tax GST Council. Number 1, 279A Clause 1. 279A, capital A, Clause 1. 279A Clause 1. Right. The President shall within 60 days from the date of commencement. 60 days from the date of commencement of the Constitutional Amendment Act (101), Constitutional Amendment Act 101, by order constitute a council to be called as GST Council. And accordingly, council was created by presidential order on 15th of September 2016. 15th of September 2016. So who came first? GST came into existence first or GST Council? Council came first. GST Act came first. GST implemented from 1st July 2017. GST Act have enabled the establishment of what? GST Council. So understand very important difference here. Law is being made and law is being implemented. So law can be made on any date, but when it is going to get an assent from the president, what usually we understand, when president have given assent to any law, fine. So law came in existence, fine. Law is going to be enforceable by the date when it is going to be published in Gazette of India. So suppose Telangana government have made a law, and according to the law, those people who are not following the traffic rule, minimum challan is going to be 10,000 rupees. Law is being made, but that law will be implemented on that date when it is going to be published in the Gazette of State. Till then, it will be not implemented. So law is there. Law is enforceable. Usually what happened when the law is being made, it is also enforceable. Means president have signed that and it is also published in the Gazette of India. Law made, law implemented from the next day. Suppose law have made today, it went to the president and president have signed on the date. What is date today? 19th of June. Fine. So 19th of June, law came into existence. But this law will be enforceable only on that date when it is going to be published in the Gazette of India. Because if you have not published in the Gazette of India, why? See, when you publish the Gazette of India, it is an official word by the government. This law is in existence and the provisions of this law is enforceable. So law is there, law is enforceable. Law is there when legislature pass that law, president sign on it, it becomes law. Till then, it is in the legislature, it is a bill. The moment got the sign, it is called as an act. And that act is going to be enforceable from that date when it is going to be find a place in Gazette of Government of India or Gazette of State Government. Till then, it is not enforceable. The moment it is going to get a sign and published in the Gazette of India. So two steps. Law is there? Yes. Why? Because President have given the assent. Law is enforceable only when it is going to publish at where? Gazette of India. So GST law was passed in 2016. Fine. Law is being passed. And as per the law, there should be a GST council. So law said that there should be a GST council. So when the law is there and law said that there's a GST council, so you have created a GST council. But the implementation of the GST is going to happen only when it is going to publish at where? Gazette of India. So that was formally celebrated on the midnight of 30th of June or 1st July 2017 at the Central Hall, the second trust of the Destiny. So that ceremony was actually, you are going to push a button, by that it is going to be published in where? Gazette of India, and accordingly it will be implemented from that date. Understood? So GST law came first, then GST council came, and then GST was implemented from 1st July 2017. Clear? Right further. Now write clause 2, 279A, clause 2. Article 279A, clause 2. Right. It is about composition of GST council. Composition of GST council. Right. Council shall consist of a union finance minister as chairperson. You can write in the points. Union finance minister as chairperson. Second, a union minister of state. A union minister of state. Underline this, minister of state. Minister of state, underline this word. Union minister of state in charge of revenue or finance. In charge of revenue or finance. As a member of GST council. As a member of GST council. Next, minister in charge of. Minister in charge of finance or taxation. Finance or taxation, or any other minister. Finance or taxation or any other minister nominated by state government. Nominated by state government as a member of GST council. Fine. So see, GST council have two people coming from where? Union, and rest of the people are coming from where? States. So what is the meaning of state minister? Who is a state minister?
State cabinet.
Who is a state minister?
Who is in the cabinet?
Who is a state minister? Cabinet minister? Minister, State Minister, Minister with independent charge. Do you know the difference? अरे हाँ या ना बोलो फटाफट. Do you know the difference? Yes or no? If yes, answer my question. If no, then I'll explain. फटाफट बोलो. You do not know? See, there are certain very important ministries which need to be consulted in majority of the decision of the government of India or state government. For example, finance, defense, fine, home, finance, defense, home, external affairs, fine. So these are certain important ministries whose say in any decision is required. Fine. So suppose you are going to take a decision on what? You are going to take a decision on trade matter. So here the opinion of finance ministry, though trade relation is a part of foreign relation, but here trade deal need to be briefed and the inputs are required from commerce ministry, inputs are required from the home ministry, inputs are required from the finance ministry. So here decision cannot be taken only by whom? External affairs ministry. Fine. So when the collective decisions are being made, certain ministries are always inevitable. Their views and opinions are required every time. So those ministries are important ministry and their ministers are being given the rank of cabinet. So cabinet is a rank which shows you are heading a topmost important ministry from the point of view of government of India. Second, whenever cabinet will meet, all the cabinet ministers are invited automatically. So usually cabinet meeting happens every week. Fine. So once the cabinet meeting will be held, you need not a separate invitation. You will be directly reach there. And who are the cabinet ministers? Who are heading important portfolios in the Ministry of Government of India. Example, Home Ministry, Defense Ministry, External Affairs Ministry, Commerce Ministry. All these ministries are what? Important ministries. Fine. So this. So they are what? They are cabinet minister. Then they are ministers. Fine. So suppose you are heading a ministry which is not considered as a very important ministry. Mines and minerals. Fine. Or you are heading environment ministry. Fine. Or you are heading any ministry, Kapla Mantralaya. Fine. So leather and other things. So you are not heading important ministry like the most important ministry, then you will be regarded as a minister. Fine. Sometimes chota packet bada dhamal. Fine. Do you understand? Chota packet bada dhamal. Maybe you are heading a small department kind of the thing, but it is what? It is of immense importance. Fine. So it is of immense importance. For example, there is a ministry for looking for energy. Fine. Petroleum ministry is there. Coal ministry is there. Now atomic energy. Fine. Atomic energy is small but having immense importance. So when some departments or ministry, fine. So if it is a bigger one, they will call it as a ministry. Fine. And if it is small sub part of this, that will be called as department. Now, when you are stuck in between, it cannot be classically called as a department, neither it can be defined as a ministry, but having immense importance. Then what will come? Ministry with independent charge. Ministry with independent charge. What it means that, just you'll understand. First, again come to the cabinet ministry. They are normal ministry or most important ministries? Most important ministries. Their work is easy or heavy work? Heavy work. So minister need assistance. Why? Because these ministries are having multiple departments. For example, Ministry of Finance. So Ministry of Finance have revenue department, expenditure department, PSU department. Then DPAM is there, Department of in disinvestments and other things. So there are multiple heads, 6 heads in the finance ministry. All heads of the finance ministry cannot be taken by one minister only. So you need certain people who can assist to whom? The cabinet minister, and then comes who? State minister. So state minister report whom? Cabinet minister. Cabinet minister reports whom? Prime minister. Minister will report whom? Prime minister. Minister with independent charge report whom? Prime minister. So see, if you are very important person of your party and your party win the election, so either you will become PM. If you will not become PM, then what you will become? Cabinet minister, Rajnath Singh. Fine. Then Amit Shah ji. All these people are what? The most important people, and they are having what portfolio? Cabinet portfolio. Then those who are not as important like them, but they have played a significant role, they will be made whom? Fine. Those who are in the ladder, they have shown leadership skill, but they are young, they need to learn more. They will get what? Then the dark horse. Those who are relatively young, but they have shown lot of potential for administration and the party, they are being rewarded with what? Minister with independent charge. And sometimes like Atomic Energy Commission, all these things, Ministry of Personnel, fine. So all they are with what? Independent charge, and they report directly to whom? PM. But remember that when the cabinet meets, only who is invited? By default, who is invited? Cabinet minister. Rest of them, you will get invitation, only then you can go. Otherwise, it is not required to be part of cabinet meeting. Fine. So cabinet is going to meet, means cabinet is going to take important decisions. Now these days, further classification is being there. Fine. Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, Cabinet Committee on Political Affairs, Cabinet Committee on Defense. So for example, Cabinet Committee on Political Affairs. So Cabinet Committee on Political Affairs. So in the cabinet, there are certain ministers who are part of Cabinet Committee on Political Affairs. So only they are going to be there when which committee will sit? Cabinet Committee on Political Affairs. Usually the most powerful cabinet committee, that is Cabinet Committee on Political Affairs. And usually when cabinet committee meeting happens, usually it is headed by whom? Prime Minister. If Prime Minister is absent because he went outside the country and cabinet is meeting, then the senior most minister is going to head that cabinet meeting. For example, when PM went outside, Mr. Rajnath Singh, the defense minister, he is considered as the most senior minister in the present government. So he heads the cabinet committee. Understood? Cabinet Committee on Defense, Cabinet Committee on Finance. Fine. So finance headed by finance minister, but by default, if the prime minister is there in the meeting, then it is automatically chaired by whom? Prime Minister. Fine. Understood this? Abhi clear hai? So in the GST Council, Union Finance Minister will be there, and State Minister with what portfolio? Finance portfolio. So State Minister would designate with which ministry you are attached. So if I will say State Minister of Foreign Affairs, means you are a junior minister attached with which ministry? Foreign Affairs Ministry. If you are Minister of State in the Finance Ministry, means you are a junior minister in which ministry? Finance Ministry. So State Minister is basically a junior minister in a big ministry where the work is heavy, huge, and the minister need assistance. And usually these are those ministries which already have cabinet rank portfolio. Understood? So in the GST Council, Union is represented by two people, Finance Minister and State Minister, Finance Ministry portfolio, Finance portfolio. And as I said that there are 6 departments in where Ministry of Finance, 6 departments they do have. and in that revenue, what you have wrote? Revenue or taxation finance. Fine. So revenue and finance portfolio, who is heading that portfolio? See, as of right now, we have two state ministers in the finance ministry. So the minister who is state minister and heading which department? Revenue department. He is going to represent union in the GST council along with whom? Finance minister. Now with respect to the states, majority of the states, usually what happened? The chief minister usually hold a portfolio of finance with himself. In the majority of the case, chief minister hold a finance portfolio with himself. But either chief minister can directly go to the meeting, but chief minister usually do not go because he is also a very busy man. So chief minister of the state can appoint a person to represent the state in what? GST council. So whenever the government will form in the state, government of the state is going to get a notice from the GST council who is going to be a representative to represent the state in the GST council. And accordingly, state secretary replied to the government of India GST council that this person is a designated person to represent whom? Represent to the state in the GST council. Understood? Now, what about the union territories? Union territories with legislature. Union territories with legislature. And if there is a legislature, there is a chief minister. So now these territories, union territories who have their legislature, they can appoint their person to represent who? That state or union territory in the GST council. Delhi, Puducherry and Jammu and Kashmir. So they can appoint a person who can represent these union territories at where? GST council. Those union territories who do not have an assembly, they are represented by whom? Union government. Understood the structure? So structure works in this way. Union territories are being represented in the GST council. Answer is partially yes. Why partially yes? Because those union territories which are having state legislature, they can present directly, whereas other union territories are being presented with the union. These days, questions are going to be more and more not only just a knowledge, but rationality and logic also. So you should not see the statement only from the point of view of knowledge point of view. You have to check the rationality of the statement and logicality of the statement. So if the statement is saying that all UTs are being presented in the GST council, statement is correct or statement is incorrect? All UTs are being represented in the GST council. Statement is correct or statement is incorrect? Statement is correct. Because logic, see the logic. Your logic is, sir, only those UTs which are having a legislature, they are being presented by whom? Their representative in the GST council. True, and that is why the statement is correct. But I am saying that those union territories who have legislature, they are being represented by their representative, whereas the other union territories are represented through whom? Center. So my logic is more stronger than your logic as per the statement. As per the statement, if the statement is going to say that every union territory is represented by their representative in the GST council, then statement is what? Incorrect. But hota kya hai? Exam, pressure, anxiety. Then exam, pressure, anxiety, and you saw certain question which you have read, which you know, and then हिंदी में एक वर्ड होता है बांछें खिल गई, ठीक है? You become very happy and you are, yes, I got the question. GST council, I have studied that. Now question came in the exam. You are very happy and you lose the focus. This is what UPSC play with you every year. वो कोई बहुत difficult question नहीं डालेंगे, और डालेंगे भी किस लिए? If they are going to put very difficult question ना, just to create more anxiety in you. Fine. So anxiety level यहाँ तक आया था अभी एग्जाम के पहले, फिर यहां तक आ गया. It reached here, and you saw first few questions. It reached here. Once it reached here, you are out of control. अभी आपका instinct work कर रहा है. Now your instincts works over your mental consciousness. So people go in the fatigue. In the exam, they are not able to see certain things which are very visible immediately after that 2 hours. Magic hota hai. After 2 hours, public will come and say that, "Arey, iska B answer hai." But मैंने A लगा दिया. Why? Because you are in that pressure and anxiety. To understand this game of the UPSC, they are going to play a mind game. It is not only the test of your knowledge, it is a test of your temperament. You hold the breath for that 2 hours. Control your emotions. Do not think too much. Be like a machine. What I always say to you, be like a machine. Don't have emotions in your mind. मेरा selection हो जाएगा तो ये होगा, नहीं होगा तो ये होगा. If I will get selected, this will happen. If I will not get selected, this will happen. Nothing will happen. 100 questions. Each questions are having 4 options and I have to hit the right option. That is my job and I am not worried about anything else. Go to hell everything. I have trained my mind in such a way, 100 questions, 400 options, 100 correct options. Fine. Questions, if it is too difficult, leave it. Question is approachable, tick it, attempt it, go ahead, next question. If question is creating doubt, I am able to eliminate 2 options. I will put this question for the second round. 100 questions, 20 questions will be bouncer, which is going to create too much pressure. I will be not bothered with that. So 20 questions. So I saw the first question very difficult. 1. I'm counting. Question number 2, very difficult. 2. Third question, very difficult. 3. So if the counting reached to 20 and you are at somewhere around question number 80, 90, you understood question paper this time is slightly difficult. So even if you are going to maintain good accuracy, you are going to be rewarded with your selection. If you counted 17, 18 only, it's difficult. Fine. And almost you reach 100 questions or you reach 100 questions, only 15, 16 are looking difficult. Question paper is easy. You have to take a little bit more risk in order to get more marks in order to be in the cutoff because cutoff is trying to be a little bit higher. So ये parallel calculation चल रहा होता है mind में. Fine. So this calculation you have to run with your knowledge, no other things. So if you are calculatively correct, you can go through. Mains is a different ball game. Mains is a different ball game. Here you know that the question will be coming from this area and this is the way how I have to address. So what should be the approach with respect to the solve political issues? So in the political issues, the involvement of the public, involvement of the government and civil society with judicial assistance. But if it is an economic issue, is judiciary in the position? Rarely. If it is an economic issue, it is an issue between whom? Public as well as whom? Government. So judiciary is not in the picture. So I will not put judiciary in my mind when I am going to deal with what matter? Economic matter. If it is a society, more and more thing in the hand of whom? Society, assisted by whom? Government, and then whom? Judiciary. But in polity, it is government, legislature which take the center stage. And it may along with whom? It may along with judiciary. Public is going to be in the third position. Society, public in the first position, government in the second position, and judiciary in the third position. So this is, you have to adjust your alignment when you are dealing with the paper or particular subject. So economics में क्या करना है? What we have to do in economics? Yes, means government, policy, data. That is a center stage. Do not be worried about what public think. Public thinks, let them think, because public have wishes and economy runs on demand. So understand this. Do not be go in such rhetorics. Sometimes what happened in the newspaper, they are writing their opinion. And when you see the opinion and you found that these opinions are little bit more demanding from the government, you are demanding too much from the government. So it is not a demand. It is actually what? Wish of that person who wrote that article. And majority of the time it happens in the Hindu. So the Hindus article are more of a wish and they present as a demand, and that is why these articles sometimes get little bit not being appropriate for the read. But some articles are very good. Why? Because they provide proper reason and logic for that. I am making this demand for this purpose. that need to be read and underlined, or you can save that article also. Understood? So GST Council, three type of the representation. One is by the union, second is by the state, third is by whom? UTs. But here, union and state means when it is about the voting power is decided between these two. Representation is of union, state and UTs with legislature. But when it is about voting, it is union and all these considered as a state. And simple formula, 1/3 is with whom? Union. So write it there, but first complete this 279 clause 3 also. Right. Clause 4, right? Clause 4, 279 after second, clause 4. Third is not very important, you can ignore it. Clause 4, scope of recommendation. Clause 4, 279A. 279A, clause 4. A is important, just not 279. 279A for apple. Fine. 279A, clause 4. And subheading is scope of recommendation. It's very important, that's why I'm emphasizing scope of recommendation, because again, it become a polity matter, and apart from the parliament and executive, who came into the picture? Judiciary came into the picture. So sometimes it is said that there is always an elephant in the room, and in Indian context, it is judiciary is considered as an elephant in the room. Elephant in the room, not in the negative sense. Elephant in the room means you should not ignore. There is something big in the house which cannot be ignored. If elephant in the forest, it might be not visible properly, but if elephant in the room, it is thoroughly visible. In fact, nothing will be visible, only what will be visible? Elephant will be visible. Fine. So whenever we want to highlight something which is usually not being addressed while addressing particular issue, and you are ignoring very important aspect, then we use the word what? Elephant in the house. So this clause is very important in this context, right? The Goods and Services Tax Council, the GST Council shall make recommendations. The GST Council shall make recommendations to the union and the states. Union and the states on what matters, right in the list. Union and the states on. So GST Council can give a recommendation to whom? Both union as well as state. Now write number 1, the taxes, cess and surcharge. The taxes, cess and surcharges, that to be subsumed or subsumed, whatever you want to listen, fine, subsumed in GST. So all those taxes which are being included in what? GST. Fine. So on that, who can make a recommendation? GST Council can make a recommendation. Fine. Number 2, goods and services tax, goods and services, not tax, goods and services that may be subjected. Goods and services that may be subjected to or exempted from GST. Subjected to or exempted from GST. Fine. So anything can be in the GST, anything should be exempted from the GST. Who will give a recommendation? GST Council. Third, model GST laws. Model GST laws. Model GST laws, comma, principles of levy. Principles of levy, how to impose it. Fine. Principles of levy, comma, implementation of IGST. Comma, principles governing place of supply. Principles governing place of supply. Fine. What is model law? Here the word starts with the model GST law. What is model law? Something like a draft. Then it should be called a draft law. It should not be called as a model law.
Used to by states.
Huh?
Laws that will be used by other states.
See, it is better to understand with an example. Agriculture is a union subject or state subject? State subject. But union want a law which is going to be good for every state, and states can be benefited by a law which is made by whom? Center. So Government of India recognized that agriculture, though it's a state subject, but Government of India also have a subsequent or enough interest in the agriculture of the country, and union believe that such law should be implemented throughout the country in a uniform way. Why in uniform way? Because every state can make their own law related to agriculture. So union want that particular kind of the law should be implemented in every part of the country. For example, land acquisition. So land acquisition should be have a uniform policy. The compensation should be at least minimum, this should be implemented everywhere. So rather than going to ask each and every state, union have made one law in the name of model law. So that model law is going to provide a framework for the state to implement their own law with respect to what? With respect to the land leasing or land acquisition, whatever. So those areas where union usually do not have a power to legislate, fine, but they want a uniform law should be implemented through the states, then they create a model law. So a model law is a kind of a template for you to make certain laws in your area, and if you want certain changes, you can make certain changes, but basically it is going to be on this basis. Is model law is enforceable in the state? Answer is no. State have still full discretion whether they accept it as it is or they reject also as it is, or they can implement that model law by making certain changes. Okay, so this is called model law. Understood? And when we go to the agriculture chapter, we are going to see majority of the law made by the government, they are what? Model laws. Okay, right further. The threshold limit of turnover. The threshold limit of turnover below which GST exemption may apply. The threshold limit of turnover below which GST exemption may apply. So like we do have a system ki your income is going to beyond threshold only then you will come under the taxation. So if your income is 4 lakh rupees, 5 lakh rupees, you do not belong to any income tax regime. After particular threshold, you will belong the income tax regime. So who decide this in the case of income tax? In the case of income tax, it is union government decide ki person having 8 lakh rupees or up to 8 lakh rupees will be exempted from the income tax, or person with 10 lakh rupees will be exempted from the income tax, or person with 5 lakh rupees will be exempted from income tax. Similarly, to what amount the turnover is being there, then you will be exempted from GST. For example, earlier, a person who is having up to 48 lakh rupees income, of course, Government of India is not going to give any person as a 48 lakh rupees income. Fine. So if you are a consultant, you are working in a firm, fine, you are working in a firm. Now you are working in a firm in two possible ways. Suppose you are a regular employee, fine, you are a regular employee and you are getting the monthly salary, then your TDS will be deducted, fine. But you are running your own firm, advisory firm, and this advisory firm advises this company and you are charging for your consultancy. So you have an agreement with that company, fine, you are having your own consultancy firm and a consultancy firm of yours is approached by that company, and company said that we want your consultancy, and you said that the monthly charges will be 10 lakh rupees. Company agreed, and they have signed 10-month contract. Contract value reached to how much? 1 crore. And this is a transaction between company and consultancy. They have not hired you as an employee, but they have hired you as a consultant. So if they have hired you as a consultant, fine. If they have hired you as a consultant, of course they will pay you while cutting the TDS. But because it's a company and they are going to earn how much? 1 crore from that company. So company will pay how much? 10 lakh rupees per month. So 10 months, how much you are going to get? 1 crore. Fine, 1 crore. So if you are going to get 1 crore, suppose law says that after 2 crores, you have to go for GST. Before 2 crores, you should not go for the GST regime. So you need not to file the GST. I'm just giving an example. It's not a real example. I'm giving an example. So you need not to go for the GST. But if your threshold is going to cross how much? 2 crores, then you have to go for proper filing of the GST. Now government have changed the law. Government said that any firm above 50 lakh rupees, they have to go for what process? GST process. And who will tell that? Who will tell this? GST Council. This is what I just want to let you know. On what money, on what level you have to go under the GST regime or without GST regime, it is decided by whom? GST Council. Fine, right? Further. The rate including floor rate. The rates including floor rates with bands of GST. With bands of GST. Means on these goods, this will be the GST rate. On these goods, this will be the GST rate. Fine. And with GST rate, cess and surcharge will be applied or not. All these things is going to be told by whom? GST Council. Right, next. Any special rate or rates for a specific time period. Any special rate or rates for specific time period to raise additional resources during natural calamity or disaster. So if the statement says that GST Council is empowered to impose even temporary taxes in addition of GST, statement is correct or incorrect? GST Council is empowered to recommend additional taxes apart from the GST. Statement is correct or incorrect? Correct or incorrect? Answer is correct. Why correct? Because statement, read the statement. What statement says that? Any special rate or rates for specific period. So where it is said a specific period, that means it is allowing to go for only temporary phase. मैंने क्या बोला आपको? What I said that do not just read the statement. Try to understand the emotions of the UPSC behind the statement. UPSC के emotions को समझो. अपने emotions मत use करो. Block your emotions, but understand whose emotions? UPSC's emotion. Now here, when it is being law is always interpretative in the nature. Law is not something which is going to be as text. Law is something have an interpretation, and here you make mistakes. You go by the common man's reasoning. You should go by the logical reasoning, law-based reasoning. What interpretation it should have? Statements, questions should be read with this mindset. Dekho example, see the example. Statement says that any special rate or rates for a specific period, specific time period. So when it says that rates for specific time period, it's showing the permanent rate or temporary rates? Temporary rates. So I will replace this statement where I am saying that for specific time period, I will replace this and I will mention what word? Temporary. That statement is still correct. Fine, because the interpretation of temporary in this context and the special rate for specific time period have the same meaning. In other contexts, they may not have the same meaning. Temporary is not having the same meaning, but in this context, it is giving a clear-cut same meaning. So accordingly, we have to go for it. Understood? So GST Council is empowered to suggest certain additional taxes along with what? GST for temporary phase. Answer or the statement is correct statement. Right, next.
States bound to tax.
I'll come to that point. This is why I'm dictating this point now. The entire reason for whether it is being enforceable on the state or not, that is a one separate matter, and that matter become big matter. Fine. So usually it is called, bhai matter ho gaya, jaldi aa jao. So it become a big matter. Fine. And it is actually opened a Pandora's box, which we are going to open just in few minutes. Write the next point first. Special provision with respect to certain special category states. Special provision with respect to certain special category states. So, before moving ahead, I forgot to send 2 documents. Fine. Today, early morning, I got a dream. I have to send you. So I have prepared the document in early morning at 4:30. I have prepared those 2 documents. One was cooperative federalism versus competitive federalism. One. That I will send you the document, not in the answer format. Entry number 50, minerals right and MMDR and cooperative federalism. This I am going to send you the question answer format. So I'll send you 2 documents today. By God, after this class, lunch, then I will be back, then I'll send. So before 5 p.m., you are going to get these 2 documents in your WhatsApp group, not Telegram. Fine? Telegram is banned by who? Government of India. Telegram story is something like that. It haunted Government of India, which is being haunted to coaching industry for a long time. Coaching industry, not only civil services coaching industry, majority of the coaching industries are facing one matter. What? Their intellectual property videos are being illegally distributed on Telegram. Multiple times they said to the Government of India, please do something. Government of India said that, okay, we will try. We will do something. Now, when the Government of India's question paper is leaked on the Telegram, then government realized there is a big issue at where? Telegram. Fine. Now, today, Government of India has submitted its statement to Delhi High Court. Telegram is working like a dark web. UPSC is also listening. They are also reading the newspaper. So they are interested in multiple things. Under what section Government of India can impose a ban on whom? Not Telegram, on social media. Which law, which provision? Which law, which provision? ये देखो, ये जनता सिविल सर्विस की तैयारी कर रही है. तुम लोग कांस्टेबल की तैयारी करो. इतना हल्ला हो रखा है. Too much noise is happening for past 4-5 days. All these news channels are doing this, and you are completely ignoring this matter. अरे पढ़ लो इसको. मुझे पता था नहीं पढ़ोगे तुम लोग. मैंने डॉक्यूमेंट रेडी करके रखा है, उसको पढ़ लेना. ठीक है? I will share the document today. प्रॉपर प्रेजेंटेशन फाइल बनाया हुआ है. ठीक है? आजकल मुझे भी प्रेजेंटेशन बनाने का शौक हो गया है. ठीक है? तो I have made one presentation, proper presentation, step by step. Read it and have it. So I will send 3 documents to you. One is Telegram matter. What is actually a Telegram matter? Fine. Second is cooperative federalism versus competitive federalism with examples and data. Then third is entry number 50, Minerals Right Act, and what? MMDR and cooperative federalism or centrist rule. Fine. So these are things. But please pay attention. Please pay attention what is happening right now in the newspaper. Even if you are not going to go deep inside, but at least have an awareness. Read consciously. If you read 2-3 times, you will get that. देखो exam में क्या होता है? In exam, you are going to have a, see, I told you, short-term memory and long-term memory. If you read something again and again, it will already going to store in the long-term memory. Long-term memory, usually we do not able to recall anytime. But when we get the clue, fine. When we get the clue, कौन सा मूवी चलता था वैसे? Pushpa. Fine. So it is called clue. So in the exam, when you see the certain words, you get the clue, and immediately you can recall your long-term memory. So this is why even you are not able to remember everything, still read it. If you are not able to remember everything, do not worry. See, many of you are not reading the newspaper because you have this fear. If I will read, I am not able to remember and recall. But the idea is, if you read multiple times, you will able to recall. Yeah? You will able to recall. Tried and tested hai. So please read. At least important news you should read. For a morning batch, the new batch, what I have just told them, do one thing. Go for, first, again, not for the promotion of my video, for your information. Newspaper session I have taken, and I have told that there are 3 types of the news. 3 types of the news. One is on which you have to make notes. Second, which you have to write in 1 line. Third, only data remove. So if you go by that, you can have only maximum to maximum 15 articles of the newspaper. Only 15 articles of the newspaper, and that 15 article, only 3-4 articles are those articles where you have to write. Otherwise, just read the heading and 1 or 2 data, not more than 3 lines. So if you are going to underline 16 news, fine, you find that 16. So maximum 4 are going to where you have to write 5 points. How many points? 4 multiplied by 5, 20. How much remaining? 12 news. And in that 12 news, somewhere around 6 to 8 news will be there where you have to write 2 to 3 points only. So you are not going to make more than 2 pages. वो भी newspaper के साथ में, along with the newspaper. So maximum 1.5 hours and 2 hours you have to spend. But that is really going to work to consolidate your knowledge and cross utilization of the knowledge and recalling the important data, facts, committee, commissions, all these things in one go. यार करो. Mains में अगर marks चाहिए, if you want to get a good marks in the mains, you have to build this thing today itself. And there is no tomorrow. There is always today, or there is always yesterday. Fine. Majority of the people go for what? Yesterday. But you have to start today. Agar मान लो, suppose if you are not able to do it, the complete newspaper, at least try for the half, na? Gradually start. आज एक काम करो. Today do one work. Main page. This week, 1 page. Page number 1, and any other page which you like, except sports page. Fine. Any page. 1 is the main page, and any other page. कोई भी आप चलो. चलो sports ही pick कर लो. 2 pages for next 2 weeks, 1 week. Then gradually go for 3 to 4 pages. Fine. Then by the August, if you are able to reach the full newspaper, it's good for you for the next prelims exam, because August is a time from where the news can be picked by usually UPSC. तो सर अगस्त में start करेंगे, अभी क्यों करें? But if you start in August, page number 1, you will start with the page number entire newspaper by November, December or January. By that time, UPSC will say that bye bye, tata, gaya. Fine. So please do that work. ठीक है? Telegram issue is very important issue with respect to DPDC. ठीक है? I'll send you now. Right. Last point in this. Any other matter relating to GST. Any other matter relating to GST as the council may decide. As the council may decide. At the council may decide. Now write one more. Article 279A, clause 9. Article 279A, clause 9. voting mechanism. Voting mechanism. Right. Every decision of GST Council, every decision of GST Council shall be taken at a meeting. At a meeting by a majority. By a majority of not less than 3/4, not less than 3/4 weighted votes. Weighted votes. Underline it. Weighted votes of the members present and voting. Of the members present and voting. So online voting is not allowed. You have to present to vote. Fine. Present and voting is required. Online voting is not allowed. Okay? Now, right further. Present and voting in accordance to following principle. In accordance to following principle. What principle? Point number 1. The vote of the central government. The vote of the central government shall have, not have, just shall have weightage of 1/3. Weightage of 1/3 of total vote cast. Votes casted. Total votes casted. Fine. Second, the votes of all state government. The votes of all state government taken together shall have weightage of 2/3 of total votes casted. Fine. So 1/3 belongs to whom? Center. 2/3 belongs to whom? States. Fine. So 2/3 votes belongs to whom? 2/3 votes belongs to state. But one more thing which you need to write, despite having 2/3 vote, the weightage, right there. In GST Council, at the time of voting, center's voting percentage is 33.33, and states weightage is 66.67. States weightage is 66.67, divided equally among all states. 66.67 divided equally among all states. And for decision making, 3/4, that is 75%. 3/4, that is 75% of total weighted vote. 75% of total weighted vote casted is required. means without center's vote. Means without center's vote, no decision. Without center's vote, no decision can be taken by GST Council. Okay, so combinedly state has 66.67, but center vote is very important because until unless center will vote in that favor, it cannot be taken. But something very incredible happens in the GST Council from its first meeting. Constitution and law says that voting and decisions will be made through what? Weighted voting. And that weighted voting, to take a decision, what is required? To take a decision, what is required? The 75% vote is required. So if you have center in your side and certain states are opposing, usually, I'll not say usually, I'll say generally, certain states have certain issues. And especially this happens when the center and the state is ruled by opposition parties. Fine. In center, one party is there and the opposition party is ruling in the other state. And now here you are not only having economic differences, but ideological differences. And ideological differences also bring the economic differences. How you are approaching for a particular thing. Fine. So that approach depends upon your political ideology. What political ideology you follow. So centrist ideology or center right, center left. So majority of the political parties are in India, they are either centrist party or they are leftist. No, they are center left, center right. So in India, there is nothing like extreme left, extreme right. Majority of the Indian political parties, they are of what nature? Either centrist or they are center left or center right. So it is like these are the two extreme ends. Fine. Right and left. Here you like center. So what in India is a left parties? They are here. Fine. Certain right parties, they are here. There is no extreme right, there is no extreme left. Because any extreme right or any extreme left, they usually do not follow the democratic principles. But India is a constitutional democracy. So this is why in practice, India, though maybe someone calling as an extreme rightist party or extreme leftist party, that is their own narrative. In the constitutional framework like India, it is not possible to go for extreme left or extreme right. And apart from the constitutional framework, we do have a kind of a polity where the regional differences matters. Fine. So regionalism is also an important factor in the Indian federal polity. So usually we do not have an extreme left and extreme right. So mostly parties lie in this area. And because of these differences, might be you may have the same government at center and same government at where? Same party government at the state. But sometimes states show their reservation. No, this is not about party. This is about center versus state. So from the very first meeting, they came with a unique thing, which is the best example of cooperative federalism. Though you can take a decision by 75% majority, but the decision making in council happens through consensus. So consensus is a way to take decision. Only 2 incidents till the date where the voting happened. And it happened because of the state who was giving dissent. So consent and dissent works how? Consent works until unless everyone is going to agree, we will not take decision. We will not take decision. So decision will be made only when everyone will be agree. So that is called consensus. Fine. Dissent system. Majority is agreed, but few people are disagreeing. Usually happen at where? Supreme Court. So 7 judges bench have taken a decision, might be 6:1 or 5:2, fine, or 4:3. So 4:3 shows that that is a case which can be further change its course. Do you remember 𝐾𝐸𝐬𝐵 Bharati case? Basic structure. And what was the dissent number? Check karna ek baar. Fine. Just check the 𝐾𝐸𝐬𝐵 Bharati case and see the number of dissent judgment in that case. And that is a widely discussed matter. Still in Indian federal polity. Fine. Because constitution have never given something like a basic structure. Fine. So this is why it is being debated. Now, come back to our point. So here, consensus will be the way to take decision at where? In the GST Council. Even a single state is going to say no. That decision will be put on hold until unless that state is also going to be satisfied. Fine. Same thing we can see at international level in the WTO decision making. Consensus need to be developed in order to take decisions. Fine. So this is why such decision makings are very complex in the nature. Until unless everyone is going to agree, the decision will be not taken. And after 2022 judgment, that thing become almost mandatory, not connected. I told about GST Council, and I told you GST Council can legislate or GST Council can give decision or recommendation. Initially, it was considered as a decision binding on both union as well as state. So till then 2022, the situation was it is binding on both whom? Center as well as state. One case went to the Supreme Court for some reason. Fine. And the reason was implement of interstate goods and services tax. Fine. IGST. Fine. So IGST can be charged or not. That was a matter. But on that case, Supreme Court, 3 judges bench, the present Chief Justice of India and former Chief Justice of India, Mr. Chandrachud, and one more judge. So 3 senior most judges. I think all the 3 senior most judges like B.R. Gavai, Justice Chandrachud, and present Chief Justice of India, Justice Suryakant. They have given this judgment and they said that GST Council's recommendations are only recommendatory in the nature. They are not binding on the center as well as state. Here, something not exploded. After that, what they have wrote in the judgment, that have created a blast. Fine. They said that if center and state want, they can make their GST related rules on their own. Now, this line का significance समझो. Try to understand the significance of this line. They said that center and state both can legislate in their own GST domain. Means GST Council says that on this water bottle GST will be 5%. The state said 9. Particular state said it no. I want to impose 9%. Council said it no. We are making a decision of how much? 5%. State says no. How much? 9%. Now council went for what? 5%. Other state went for what? 5%. This state went for 9%. So if you go to that state, the bottle will cost you with the 9% rate. In the other state, it will with what? 5% rate. Means you back to what situation? 30th June 2017. So that decision have given this power to whom? States. Especially whom? States. Because see the matrix, see the game here. You cannot take any decision without consent of whom? Union. See, 75% is required. So until unless union is going to agree, you cannot take any decision. States are agree, but center is not agree. Fine. Then decision will be taken by GST Council. Answer is no. Why 75% is required or not? So 75% is required, but center hold how much? 33.3. So until unless center will be agree, you cannot agree. But suppose Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, they are not agree. They are not agreeing. Still, they can get the weightage of how much? 75% can be crossed. Why? Because all the states combinedly have how much? 66.67. And every state have equal vote. Every state have what? Equal vote. So if 3-4 states are going to do what? 3-4 states are going to disagree. Their disagreement will be not accepted. And it will defeat the purpose of cooperative federalism. So Supreme Court's judgment initially seen by the people, ki, "Arey, ye kya kiya Supreme Court ne? What nonsense Supreme Court have did? Supreme Court have created a chaos. Supreme Court have did this. Supreme Court have did what?" Lot of people wrote this, but actually Supreme Court did something magical. Now the consensus, which earlier kind of a earlier, see 2017. 2017 onwards, we are taking decisions in the GST Council through what? Consensus. We agreed for the consensus. Okay, let's go for consensus rather than for what percentage? 75%. We will not 75%, we will go for consensus. Fine. Means everyone need to agree. This is, we have agreed. Constitution says that 75%. Now, after that judgment of 2022, if you will not go for this, then those who are disagree, suppose few states, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Karnataka and Telangana, they are saying that no, it is not right. But still GST Council is reaching to what? 85%. They will say that, koi baat nahi, we are going to implement this decision. Why implementing this decision? We are going to implement this decision because it is well qualifying what rate? 75% rate. Now, Telangana, Karnataka, Kerala, they will say that, okay, fine, you can go with your rule, I will go with my own rule. So, there will be one GST in other states and other GST in the other states. So, GST will be defeated. So, in order to make GST successful, what you need? Consensus. Fine. So, usually people feel that the Supreme Court's judgment have opened the Pandora's box. Technically speaking, now every state has this power. They can set their own GST rates. Every state has this power. They can set their own GST rate. But if they will go for it, it will create more chaos. But at the same time, in the GST Council meeting, every member know that everyone sitting here have the power to defy the GST system. So let's create a common rule so that, pay attention on my words, let's create a rule so that no one need to defy the rule of GST. So let's accept on those things on which everyone is agreed. Do not try to impose certain thing on even a member, though technically you have a power. But if you use this power, then state also have the power to ignore your GST ruling under what? GST Council. So GST Council's recommendations are not mandatory, they are only recommendatory in the nature. Before 2022 UPC question, yes, they are enforceable on the state. Supreme Court said that, try me. Fine, try me. And Supreme Court said that, as per my judgment, they are now only what? Recommendatory in the nature. So, it is about British Parliament and Indian Supreme Court. Fine. British Parliament can make male to female, female to male. It's an oxymoron. Fine. They have the law-making power. Supreme Court India also have the power. But these powers, majority of the times, multiple times the Supreme Court judgments are being criticized. But if you see from the federal polity point of view and putting your emotions aside of a sympathy towards a political party, particular political party or particular ideology, and if you have only federal polity in your mind, majority of the judgments of the Supreme Court are landmark and they have strengthened federal polity in India. Remember? So you have to craftily write this point in the answer if it will come. I'll mention you the case also, in what case Supreme Court have taken the decision. Fine. So just write there. Case study. Right. Mohit Minerals judgment case. Mohit Minerals. Any Mohit in the class? No Mohit in the class. Only Mohit Minerals in the class. Right. In Union of India versus Mohit Minerals Private Limited case. In Union of India versus Mohit Minerals Private Limited case. Third judge was not B.R. Gawai. Third judge was Justice Vikram Nath. Just correction. Fine. Though it is not required to write. Just correcting. Right now, right. 3 judges Supreme Court bench. 3 judges Supreme Court bench. Given landmark judgment. Given landmark judgment. With respect to functioning of GST and GST Council. With respect to functioning of GST and GST Council. They are number 1, recommendations of GST Council. Recommendations of GST Council are not binding. Recommendations of GST Council are not binding on union and states. The recommendations are the product of collaborative. The recommendations are product of collaborative discussion involving union and states. Third, both parliament and state legislature have simultaneous power, simultaneous and equal power, not just simultaneous and equal power, or better, right, equal legislative power under Article 246A. Under Article 246A. Which grants power to Parliament and state legislature. Which grants power to Parliament and state legislature to make laws with respect to GST. One more important observation of the Supreme Court. Article 279A. Article 279A creates the council as forum for cooperative federalism. Not a body binding authority. Not a body with binding authority over its member. Exceptional judgment. Fine. And this judgment is not only going to be used in India. Fine. Usually what happens? For example, 𝐃𝐨𝐰𝐧𝐥𝐨𝐚𝐝 case. Do you know that this 𝐾𝐸𝐴𝐵 Bharati case is not just case is used in India? Even that went back to US, UK also. So UK's judiciary assumed the power. Since the 𝐾𝐸𝐴𝐵 Bharati case, multiple countries' judiciary have assumed more power by citing the case of what? Case of 𝐾𝐸𝐴𝐵 Bharati. Fine. So 𝐾𝐸𝐴𝐵 Bharati was not just a jurisprudence case in India. It became a landmark judgment in the world. Fine. So similarly, this judgment, you can use this judgment in the GST, and you can use the same judgment while writing on what? Cooperative federalism. So cooperative federalism is not something where you are going to bound by the things. Fine. So you created a council, and that council is going to issue a gag order. You know, you can't do this, you can do that. Council is a federal in the nature. So this Mohit Minerals case have given a true color to what? GST Council as a federal council and as an example of cooperative federalism. So can state make their own laws with respect to GST? Answer is yes. But do they do this thing? Answer is no. GST Council emphasize decision on the basis of consensus. Fine. And see, one interesting fact is, it is matter of money. Fine. Taxation. So in the matter of taxation, it is always government versus public. It is not always versus this political party versus that political party. So usually when you are in the government, doesn't matter you are in the central government or in the state government, what matters? More important matter is your understanding towards the tax, less understanding towards your party principles. And that is why I am telling you again and again, multiple cases where the government, which is ruling at center, since 2017 BJP is ruling, but many times BJP ruled state himself, they have voted, they have shown their reservation against the center's position. So it is not about party, it is not about ideology, it is about smiling Gandhiji. Fine, because you have to answer the public through your welfare, and that welfare depends upon two important factors. One is how much government is receiving to the taxes and to the borrowings. Borrowings always create a liability. So borrowing will go by the government only when the revenue sources are not sufficient. So government want to expend the revenue sources without putting too much burden on the public. So here this rationality works. Political ideology and other things work later. So GST Council is a technical council also, where the tax is being discussed rather than which party is good, which party is bad. Nothing. So it is more technical council. So whenever GST Council meeting happened, you should keep an eye on that. Fine. How they are happening. So write one more thing. Then we'll wind up today and discuss other things tomorrow. Right. Council meeting happens on quarterly basis. Article 279A clause 5. You can write this in the bracket. On quarterly basis, 279A clause 5. So how many meetings in a year? 4 meetings in a year. Right. But in practice, council meets after every 2 months in general. Fine. Right. As a note, one half of the members of council shall constitute quorum at its meeting. So when meeting will happen, how many members will be present? Half of the member. But right further, what? Shall constitute a quorum. Constitute quorum. Quorum. Quorum at its meeting. That means minimum 15 members. That means minimum 15 members must be present. That means minimum 15 members must be present. 15 members must be present for council. For council to validity transaction business. To validate transaction or transact business. Fine. Write one more thing. No act or proceedings of GST Council. No act or proceedings of GST Council shall be invalid. Just because of any vacancy. Or any defect in the constitution of council. So maybe certain states are having president rule. Fine. If they are having president rule, they can claim that we was not there, so I will not accept this decision. Fine. We do not accept this, so it's not going to work. Because you was not there, it doesn't mean that the council have taken the wrong decision. Okay, so this is about GST Council. Fine. Now give a heading. Key features of GST in practice. GST in practice. Okay, we'll do tomorrow.